Now, there's a couple of problems, though, if you were to say, well, this is the tallest mountain, so let's go find the ark up there. The biggest problem is it's a stratovolcano. Now, what that means is that after each eruption, the mountain builds up itself.
Hi everyone, this is Ryan Morrow from the Doubting Thomas Research Foundation, and we are going to be talking with our Noah's Ark researcher, Andrew Jones, in this video. Andrew is over there in Turkey. Andrew, thanks for being with us. Can you tell us exactly where you are right now in Turkey?
Hello, Ryan. I am standing here in eastern Turkey at the base of what's known as Mount Ararat. Now, this mountain is a stratovolcano, and it is the tallest mountain in the country of Turkey. Now, it is also the most famous due to the story of Noah's Ark and the flood. And most traditional sightings place the Ark high up on this mountain that's covered with a glacier.
Right, so as long as I can remember, the story has always been that Noah's Ark landed on Mount Ararat. And so you're at Mount Ararat, and you would assume then that that's where Noah's Ark landed, and it either has been destroyed since then or it's preserved up there. That would just be the assumption. So can you explain to us a little bit about why this mountain has been associated with the landing of Noah's Ark for so long? Is there any evidence to support that? Because, like I said, it's always been taught to us that the Bible says that Noah's Ark landed on Mount Ararat, where you are right now.
Yes, so most people do assume that the Ark of Noah landed up there, and the biggest assumption is because it's the tallest mountain in the country, in this region. But if you look at the biblical text, it actually says that Noah's Ark landed on the mountains of Ararat, plural. And Ararat is actually the name of the country of Urartu. And that was an ancient kingdom that covered this whole area of eastern Turkey and into Armenia and northern Iran. Now, this country has different regions, and so the region that has the mountains is where we are standing today. Now, there's a couple of problems, though, if you were to say, well, this is the tallest mountain, so let's go find the ark up there. The biggest problem is it's a stratovolcano. Now, what that means is that after each eruption, the mountain builds up itself. And another name for it is a composite volcano because it's made up of different layers. And so because of that reason, those who are looking for the ark and those who say, I saw the ark, high up on that mountain, on the outside slope of it, they're actually saying that the ark landed on the last lava flow from the last eruption. Now, if you look at the lava that we're standing in here, where I'm actually in a lava flow right now, a lava bed, and you look at the lava up on the mountain, all of that is lava that was from a post-flood volcano eruption. This is not pillow lava that you find like in Hawaii. And so definitely this mountain that we're standing at the base of was created after the flood. And so that leaves us then with the issue of, well, what about these eyewitness accounts? Many people say, I saw the ark up there, or I saw part of the ark. In fact, most recently there's been some stories of people who saw wood, in the ice and snow up there. Well, if you look at each one of those accounts, they all conflict. There's not a general a story that says the ark is in one spot on the mountain at one elevation and preserved in one piece. You have stories saying that the ark is two pieces, or a perfectly preserved barge, or is buried in the ground on the side of the mountain. And then people who say it's on the north side, the southeast side, and right now we're standing on the south side. And so we're looking at these conflicting stories that don't match. And it basically raises the question, like, well, why are people so focused on that mountain when the Bible doesn't say the ark landed there, but the Bible just gives us a general territory of this mountainous region of the kingdom of Urartu?
Okay, so to summarize, the Bible actually says that Noah's Ark landed in the mountains, plural, of Urartu. So it doesn't actually say specifically a mountain or specifically Ararat. And so it's perfectly legitimate to say that it landed somewhere in the mountains of what we would call Ararat today, not just that specific peak.
That's correct.
So, Andrew, is it debated at all that that Mount Ararat is a stratovolcano, and therefore, if Noah's Ark landed there, then it would have been destroyed, right?
Yeah, no, it's not debated. Everyone you talk to, from creationists to evolutionists, they all agree that this is what you call a stratovolcano. Now, there are different types of volcanoes, but this is definitely a composite or a stratovolcano. It's two different names for the same type of volcano, which again means that as the lava came up and as the mountain erupted, it actually formed itself. The famous ones out there are like Mount Fuji, you have Mount St. Helens, Mount Rainier. So these are stratovolcanoes where each eruption actually formed the mountain that we see today. And so that is not debatable. Everyone accepts that. So if you're going to say the Ark has landed up there, you basically have to ignore all that and try to come up with a reason of how a volcano erupted and did not destroy the Ark, and how the Ark landed on the very outside, the very top of this volcano after the very last eruption. In fact, the very last eruption was in 1841, I believe, on the north side. It blew out and formed the Ahora Gorge, and yet you have some Ark hunters who are looking for the Ark in that very gorge that was formed. This huge
They're looking specifically where the eruption happened, is what you're saying.
Yeah, and they're like, hey, it's up there preserved in this place where it actually blew out the side of the mountain and killed over 1,000 people back in 1841. So a lot of people who are looking for the Ark up there, number one, they ignore the biblical text. Number two, they're willing to ignore the geology of the region just to put the Ark high up on this volcano. Now, it's a very pretty volcano. It's a beautiful mountain. But in my opinion, it's definitely not where the Ark landed.
Right. So, I mean, essentially what you're saying is that Noah's Ark was meant to deal with a flood and not a volcanic explosion with lava. And that's essentially what you have to argue the Ark would be able to handle if you say that it's on this current site of Mount Ararat. Somehow it was able to survive massive volcanic eruptions. And when you look at just how obvious that is, how simple logic brings you to that conclusion, it's really amazing that there have been so many supposed sightings of a Noah's Ark type object of wood, that everyone seems to be so focused on that specific mountain. But the Bible says we don't have to be that narrowly focused, and what we know about how that was formed, it would mean that Noah's Ark either didn't land there or it landed there and was destroyed, so why are you looking? It's really amazing. It's very similar to the Mount Sinai issue, where there was a consensus that was built because so much focus was on the traditional site of Mount Sinai in Egypt's Sinai Peninsula, that people went there and they said there wasn't evidence, therefore the story didn't happen. And now it turns out that if you look at this mountain in northwestern Saudi Arabia, there is all this evidence. So it's the same pattern. It's really very interesting to see. But Andrew, you've got to talk about one controversial claim. Because if you look up this site or anything about Mount Ararat Noah's Ark on YouTube, you're going to see videos with millions of views about this dramatic sighting and footage of Noah's Ark finding wood up on Mount Ararat. The Chinese team, I know their initials were NAMI. What can you tell us about this? Is this, we heard about it, it got a lot of commotion, a lot of attention, people still talk about it, but there haven't really been any updates. Can you explain the situation to us?
Yes, of course, I do know of that claim. It was publicized in the news back in, I believe, 2009 or 2010. In fact, I talked to somebody who actually been up there and inside the so-called Ark. He did a Skype call with me in 2014 and showed me his photos and explained how he was charged $20,000 to be taken up there by the local guides who said they had found it up there. Now, that site is actually on the side of the mountain we're at. It's about 2/3 of the way up on this southern side of the mountain. Now, the claim is that buried in the side of this lava flow, now remember, this is a volcano, are these pieces of the Ark. And they say there are 2 or 3 different pieces. They have like 2 or 3 different locations. And the videos they show you, they have the guys going down into some crevasse, and then they show you the wood that is like embedded into the ice and into the snow and dirt. And then they're showing you like pottery pieces. Some of them have like dried beans or like food items. And you see cobwebs. You know, when you start seeing this stuff, you start to wonder, did Noah just like run off the ark and leave all his food? Like, who put that there? Why hasn't others been up there since that time? There's been really no other update. So if this really is Noah's Ark, everyone here could benefit from it. The tourism industry, the guides who actually found it, there's millions of dollars to be made. Yet the people who have been promoting that site, they were charged a lot of money to get up to that site by the locals who found it. So that makes you wonder then the motivation for the people who actually found it. Like, why do they do it, and why they only show a certain number of people the so-called ark there? There's many issues with that site.
Andrew,
yeah, go ahead.
Well, let's discuss what was actually found there, right?
Yes.
So, was wood actually found there, and was the wood compatible with the shape of a ship? Like, if we're being as generous as possible, what would we say that wood resembles?
Well, when they show the video, and I've seen photos from the inside, and obviously I've seen the same YouTube videos that others have seen, what they're showing is not a complete ship. They're showing bits and pieces. I don't know what the longest piece you see in the video, maybe 30 feet or 40 feet. I don't even think it's that long. And so you see these boards, but you never see like a whole room or a whole side of a boat. And so the story is, again, personally, I do not see people plant wood up there. I just know the story from other locals. The story is that the years before 2010 or so, this group hired some villagers to take up old wood from other parts of the country and from other villages and put it during the summer months when the snow has melted and it's muddy up there, to embed the wood in there and form these little rooms. And then when it was all solid and frozen in place over the next couple winters, then they brought in this group of Christians from, I believe, initially from China, but they also had some American archaeologists involved and explorers, and then they showed them the site. Yet, after all of that, big announcement and everything, we still have the original videos being promoted on YouTube, but nothing else has ever been done with the site. No scientific expedition, no Turkish archaeologists going up there, no foreign archaeologists. We're just left with the initial story, and so I really think that should cause some concern and doubt, because again, you go back to what this mountain is. It's a volcano, and yet they're saying embedded on the side of this volcano, which is basically a lava flow, a dried lava flow, is this ark. And so how did the ark land inside this lava flow that would have happened, after, many years after the flood? It's just that there's so many issues.
Sure.
So you basically
Andrew,
left.
just to be clear, so how did the claim about Noah's Ark being found on Mount Ararat with a video of the wood come about? Is it like as simple as the Chinese explorers and the missionaries showed up at the mountain, talked to a local, and someone was like, hey, guess what? For $20,000, I'll show you Noah's Ark, and then it was discovered, supposedly? Is that how it went?
Basically, yeah, in a simplified manner. I mean, I don't know all the little details of how they managed to connect with the locals, but it wasn't, these people did not go up there and stumble across it themselves. They were taken there by locals who said, hey, we'll show you where the ark is for X amount of money. There was a transaction involved with money. They showed them the structure. They brought other people up there and charged them money to see it. And so that's kind of how the story happened. All
right, so Andrew, you're telling us this story about a guy being paid $20,000 to bring the explorers up to this alleged Noah's Ark site, but you're saying that comes from local sources. So how do we know that you're not just repeating a rumor from some local who just didn't like the news about the discovery? Because people gossip a lot. Do you actually know the people involved? You don't have to name them, but do you actually know who was allegedly involved in getting $20,000 for this, and the sources that come from this account of what went on here?
Yeah, so actually the source that was telling me that they were charged $20,000 was from the American who actually went up there. He said they charged him $20,000 to take him up there. Then he showed me the video clips and photos over Skype of that little expedition where he went up.
So the guy who paid $20,000,
he's the one who,
is the one that told you this story. Okay, so
yeah,
it doesn't get more solid than that.
Yeah, it went out of his pocket. Now, he believed the site is legit, but he actually paid that money. It wasn't some other rumor. Now, in regards to who planted the wood, there's different rumors in town. So I don't want to name names because obviously I wasn't there and didn't see these people plant the wood. But everyone in this area, when you talk to them, they always name the same person and his group as being the ones involved in planting the wood up there. And this person was obviously involved also in the news announcements and everything else. So there is a connection between the publicity and the stories, the local stories of this person putting this fake ark up there. But I don't want to name any names.
Sure, but did people see this fraud taking place? Did they actually see someone bringing the wood up there?
Yeah, so actually, a friend of mine who lives here, again, I did not see this, but this friend who lives here said he talked to the villagers who got hired. And this village is at the base of the mountain. There's a bunch of villages down here, and this local hired these villagers to carry the pieces up there. And he has talked to some of the villagers about it, and they do admit that they were bringing these chunks of wood and planting them up in the ice. So we do have, again, we did not see the villagers do that, but here's a villager telling us the story that is matching what others others in this area are saying about the site.
I mean, that's a really solid case. So you talked to the guy who said he was charged $20,000 to be brought up there and discover Noah's Ark, and you also have sources who can describe how this was done, and people who actually said that they were paid to bring the wood up there in order to perpetrate the fraud. So I think it's rare that you come across a case that strong when you can debunk something that thoroughly. So thank you for that, Andrew. Hopefully everyone watching will understand why we have been focusing on the Darupanar site as opposed to the main Mount Ararat now, that we believe if Noah's Ark is still in existence, that its remains should probably be found somewhere else. And stay tuned for future updates. We do have scientific work that we are trying to fundraise for. You can go to the website at noahsarkscans.com, and our overall website is doubtingthomasresearch.com. And I'm Ryan Morrow. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe below, and we'll talk to you soon.